Hey guys, it's me again, Orcslayer What Ifs. Where we last left off, let's see, checking. So, where I last left off, Belle and Celebrimbor just finished getting their asses kicked by the Troll Slayer. Belle barely beat him, and he only was able to beat him with some tricks, as Celebrimbor got knocked the hell out. They killed the brother beforehand. They pretty much through that last episode got rid of most of the war chiefs except Ratbag. Ratbag was left alone because the Troll Slayer saw he ain't no fighter, he's a schemer. So, with that being said, I'll continue forward from where I left off. Where I last left off, Celebrimbor and Belle were chilling in the cave while Celebrimbor told them stories, as Talion, or not Talion, but Belle had prepared some forms of medicine, you could say, to help them. As then they receive word from this: the hammer has come, as they're interrogating one of the lowly grunts. As it's been a month since Ratback has pretty much been left in charge, and things have gone quite well, actually. He has a knack for resource management in some cases, but sometimes he does go a bit extravagant. Sure, there have been plenty of attempts to kill the little man, but he's still pretty useful, all things considered. And people, like the big tough warriors, don't care as long as they get a bit of a bonus for keeping his little neck safe, as they're quite happy. So when it comes to that, the hammer approaches, as he arrives with a, you could say, honor guard, I guess, would be a way of describing it, that say, we've come to meet with Troll Slayer. I don't think I can mimic his voice. It's like, how does his voice go again? Let me just, alright, I've looked it over, I've listened to the voice quite a bit, and I can't do his voice, but I'll see if I can get close to it through the magic of editing. So, as they hear about, like, Ratbag hears about the whole, he comes with an honor guard of the Black Hand's personal people. They're not the talons of the hand, who are like the chosen of the Black Hand. They're sort of people who, you could say, are part of the same group in a way. Like, they're the underlings to them. As the hammer was sort of upset that he couldn't bring the talons along, as this is how the conversation went. Why not give me all of them? It'd be easier to bring the last ranger, as he calls himself. As the Black Hand says, 'cause if he is the last ranger, he should be capable enough to take him down. It's like, or do you fear his strength for taking down Troll Slayer? As he says, I fear no man. Then he should be no problem then. As the tower's like, Hammer, you are not the strongest, but you are not the weakest of us either. If you fear him so much, I'll come along. As he sort of lets out a chuckle like, you shut it, tower, before I cave in your skull. If you try, I will flay your skin. As they draw their weapons, as the hand says, enough. If you both don't act more of your rank, I will offer you to my lord personally. Hammer, move. As they're both frightened of the Black Hand, as both of them take a step back, as the tower sort of looks down, and the hammer keeps his gaze and says, all right, as he sets out after gathering his little group. As when he approaches Ratbag's little stronghold, he says, where is Ratbag? The war chief left in charge. As Ratbag's like, I'm Wolf Chief Ratbag. He's like, where is Troll Slayer? He's fell in battle, my lord. He's like, I thought that was just a rumor. Very well. Take me to this last ranger. It's like, what, my lord? Well, come on then. You should know this land better than anyone, since you are the overlord. As he's right away, sir. As Ratbag has to skitter along the ground, as the talons are the ones are like, is he really the one in charge here? I thought Troll Slayer had high standards. If you cannot see the worth in him, then you are blind as any other fool in this land. Wait here. Well, we were told to come. I said wait here. As his hammer begins to glow with hot red fury. Like, alright, boss. Oh, yes, hammer. Oh, we'll wait here. As he taken a gulp. As Ratbag brings along some of his men, it's like, this is where Overlord Troll Slayer said he was gonna challenge him, my lord. As he's like, very good then. As then his hammer goes even more. As he then pretty much uppercuts Ratbag as he goes, sends him carouseling through the air like splat. As he's like, now bring me the head of this not grave walker. Sorry, that's the thing from the game. That's what you're called, since you can die and come back. Of the last ranger. As he's like, why don't you claim it yourself? Whole storyline. It's like, the ranger from the Black Gate. As he like feels alongside his face. You burned my face. Unfortunately, I cannot kill you here. But the tower will enjoy your agony. Kill him! Yeah, I'm probably not gonna add to this. Sorry. As Celebrimbor says, not so fast. As the hammer takes a second, like, who are you? You know me well, Hammer. You burned the kingdom to the ground. I don't remember what his kingdom was called, so it's not Lothlorien. Rockwood. Rivendell. What was his? Oh well. Whatever his kingdom was called. As he says name. You burned it to the ground. Your tower burned it to the ground. While you and the Black Hand, while you and the tower had many at your mercy. Justice will be done today. I'm sorry I can't have that cool. I can't do the voice like Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor has a badass voice. I wish I could do it, but I can't. It's like, Celebrimbor, the Lord of Gifts, and the fallen Lord of insert name here. As Belle's like, he's the Lord. No, now is not the time for that. As Belle says, you will pay for what you've done. As he draws his sword, he's like, well then. You focus on the elf. The ranger is mine. As the hammer moves forward, as he goes like, as he smashes the masons to the ground, Belle took a step backward as he throws daggers right at the hammer. As he's like, is that all you got, Ranger? Belle says, I have grown much stronger than our last encounter. And last time I remember, I had you at my mercy. It's like, oh. You got lucky. As he jumps forward, smashing to the ground. As Belle is staying out of reach, throwing dagger, like a couple more daggers, as then he brings out his bow, as he has taken the time to learn how to form it properly, as he sort of gets it fully, as he sort of hits the tower in the shoulder, as the magic is able to pierce through it. Like somewhat, it can like pierce through it somewhat and damage it. So as the hammer feels this, he goes to grab where the arrow was. Then he just like, oh, so you know a bit of magic. Well, I know some of my own. As he then pretty much uses the ability that where he grabs you and then pulls you close. As he grabs Bell by the face and sort of like picks him up and throws him. As Bell's like, dang it. As Celebrimbor's busy with Ratbag's toughest bodyguards. As he's having to fend them off, as each of them are on the level of a captain. As he's like, Talion, hold your ground. I will be with you in a second. As he's trying to turn up, like, trying to tear through the, like, orcs really quickly. But these guys are... Stop yelling. Oh, bastard. As he what they're equipped with are spears and shields, and they're like the full-on metal shield, so he can't just slice through them. Bell says, alright then. As he takes his step back up, as he grabs it, like, he takes his sword firmly in one hand, he's like, I remember that day. Your mother and father will surely miss you. Once I bring you back to my master. As he sort of lunges forward again and swings widely, just barely missing Bell. As Bell moves forward, he takes out his smaller knife, as then he stabs the hammer right in the left side. Yeah, I favor the left side. Yeah, I stab. But it penetrates the armor kind of, but not deep enough. As then the hammer grabs his arm and sort of starts crushing down on it. Bell is thankfully able to get his sword, well, his little dagger out beforehand, and is able to sort of stab it through the hammer's armor. As he create a magical one, not the one he grabbed from the hammer side, and stabs it. As then he pushes it, is able to just barely get all the way through in a way. As the hammer's loses his grip on it, as he goes to grab at the magical dagger, as then it just fades in his hand. He's like, oh, I'm getting real sick of that Ranger. As he smashes again. He keeps on trying to get Bell pinned, as he even does the whole smash attack where he affects the area around him. As Bell says, oh. As he then is able to knock the hammer on his back, as then Bell generates the blast, as then he smashes it right down on the hammer's face. As the hammer feels like something go crack. As then he pretty much punches Bell right in his ribs, sending Bell to tumble a bit. He's like, oh! Celebrimbor finishes off the last of the bodyguards. He's quite a bit injured. He's been stabbed, sliced and grazed a few times. Celebrimbor's like, I'm on my way, Talion. It's not Talion, damn it. As Bell goes to grab his side, he's like, take your time. I got him right where I want him. As he fixes himself, as he has to roll away from before his head is pretty much caved in from a stomp. He's like, where are you going, Ranger? As then Celebrimbor stabs him through his shoulder. As then he gets backhanded. It's like, your wife and child died at the hands of the Black Hand. Screaming, if I may add. You shall not be so lucky, Celebrimbor. As he takes the dagger that was stabbed into his side and finally picks up Celebrimbor, as he stabs him in his stomach and throws him away, Celebrimbor's like, ah! And as Celebrimbor's holding his stomach, Bell's like, oh, come on, why again? As he stands up, he gets his arrow and aims right for the hammer's eye. As it gets in his eye, thankfully, depending on whose side you're on, it doesn't reach his brain yet. As he's like, argh! As he grabs his face, he's like, not Gravewalker, Talion! Not Talion. Damn it. He grabs the side of his face and says, you will pay for that, Ranger, even more so. He sounds nothing like this, by the way. just like me voicing. Bell says, I would like to see you try. He's like, oh, funny. Well, I got a joke for you. What's black and blue and broken with bones? You, when I'm done! As he swings widely again, missing Bell as Bell sees a chance as he rushes forward, takes his longsword and stabs it right up through the armpit. As the hammer feels this, he's like, ugh! As he goes to grab Bell, Bell pretty much just takes out his small dagger. Creates another small dagger as he stabs right into the hammer's shoulder. As with the dagger in his shoulder and the sword being thrusted up through his underarm, Bell drags the dagger, which is able to get through the metal. He drags it down his chest, as then he stab. As then, before the hammer's finished, Deku rips out the sword from under his arm. As the hammer drops his hammer, as Bell kicks it away, the hammer's like, as he does the whole, how does your vengeance taste? Is not the darkness sweet? As then Bell takes his sword and rams it right through his chest. As then there's immediately a great orange light. As then he rips it out and causes a little boot, a sort of a gush, like a blast of air. As the hammer falls over dead, Bell's like, Master, are you alright? Yes, Bell, I am quite alright. As he picks himself up, come, we must leave. Before, he's like, wait. It's like, oh, Master, this wound's gonna be difficult to treat. It'll take quite a while to hear. News of this would travel fast, and whoever he came with may yet come for us. We will need time to recuperate. I say it is time for us to lay low for a while. I agree so, Bell. Let us go. As Celebrimbor lifts himself up, Master, or is it true? Are you Celebrimbor? Not Celebrimbor, but were you the Lord of the Kingdom? He's like, yes. I was the Lord once. I ruled for over 1,000 years, and nothing ever bad happened. But then I got complacent, indulged myself in my hobbies, you could say, and I lost sight of the enemies around me. Soon enough, they happened, and I lost everything. But by the end of this, Bell, I'll tell you this. I'll be at peace when the time comes. And hopefully you will be as well. As do I, Bell. I mean, as do I hope as well, Master. As do I. As Bell pretty much helps Celebrimbor, as they again have to wait for weeks to have, Celebrimbor has to wait for at least a week of his wounds getting healed, since he was stabbed in the stomach with a short sword, basically. And Bell, he just had to get his ribs and such all nice and healed up. But like they thought, the news of the hammer's death spreaded like wildfire. Well, like a wildfire in the dry months. Seriously, it was so widespread that literally the tower and them heard about it within a week. And as they heard about it, they're like, Tower was thinking, finally, The fool got himself killed. And the Black Hand, despite what he says, actually does have some semblance of care for his comrades, you could say. Because they've been with him the longest. As he recounts with the tower how he saved the hammer. The hammer had gotten himself into a fight with over 100 men at once. The Black Hand was going to leave him to rot and die. But his master told him otherwise, saying that the hammer's ferocity for battle and his tenacity would grant the Black Hand a great advantage in the future. And so, taking up his sword and channeling the power given to him by his Dark Master, he helped the hammer slay down at least 50 of the men. The hammer then challenged him to a fight, in which he abruptly lost within a split second of raising his hammer even slightly in the air. As he recovered, the Black Hand took him into his service, sort of molded him better, made him less ferocious in a way, letting him unleash it when the time came right. Despite all his flaws, he considered him a brother, as he pretty much slams his fist through an iron table, saying that, "You, bring him to me, and before you have your fun, I will speak with him one last time. The Ranger will know suffering." As he's like, "Very well, master." As he says, "And take the talons with you." As the talons are equivalent to a war chief. The toughest of the tough when it comes to war chiefs, at least. As well, the tower sets out. Well, yes. But at the same time, Belle and Celebrimbor are contacted by Lorien. I forget her name. I don't really remember some of the side characters. The only ones I really remember are ones that you spend with, that like are Torvin, and that's it. Like Torvin and Celebrimbor are the only ones I remember. So they're the only ones I really like. And Torvin is a dwarven hunter who you go on missions with. It's really fun with them. Also Ratbag. Ratbag is the best character, probably. But anyways, as I continue with the story, they're contacted by Loreth. Yeah, I believe her name is Loreth. So, as we go forward, no wait, Loreth is Talion's wife. Lithariel, that's what her name was. Lithariel is a woman you meet in the next part, but she's like the daughter of the queen of a tribesman. Sorry. But as we continue forward, they are still contacted by Lithariel, as she still tells them, "I was sent to find you by my mother." So, as we will continue. So, as they set out, after being somewhat convinced, as Belle says, we can stop the Black Hand and the tower from causing any more grief. The grief you and I have felt will never impact anyone else, Celebrimbor. We must make sure of it. But we will also need a way to destroy the monster that the Black Hand houses. As Lithariel says that her mother thinks she may have found a way. Then Celebrimbor says, "Then so we go." As they both stand up and follow her. As they cloak themselves in the dark tribesmen like clothing, as Lithariel does the same as they are wandering the roads. Oh, sorry, as to keep a low profile, as they over time make their way to the land of Nirn, which is part of Mordor, I believe, which is the land of Nirn, which is just another sector of Mordor. So they go on as Bell and Celebrimbor take a breath of fresh air and sort of take away their I believe I said it was snowing where they were in the mountains. So remember that. As what they do this time is that they switch to something more lightweight, so as that way they aren't sweating as much and overheating. As along the way, Lothariel and Celebrimbor, Bell, and Lothariel come across a dark tribesman patrol. These ones wear more refined armor, you could say, less than scrap metal banged together. So as they drop down, she's like, "There's one of the captains." "Who's he?" He's like, "He has many names, but what most of us call him is Slave Breaker." Slaves? We never really ran into slaves. He's like, "Well, the tribesmen this way take up slaves. The Dark Masters see to it that their labor is done by the hands of my people. You two can stay here if you want, but I am to take him out." Bell looks at Celebrimbor. As Celebrimbor looks at him, "Then we shall assist you." And she's like, "Wait here, Lothariel. Let us show you our worth." As the captain's like, all right, now keep moving. We're gonna make it to the fort before dawn." It's like, "Boss, these weak, not southerners, right? These weak little maggots can barely even walk. What the hell are they gonna do at the fort?" "Well, what they're gonna do is they're gonna work the forges, and what else they're gonna do, they're gonna feed the Caragors. So that way, you yaps aren't gonna be losing any bloody fingers." Like, "Oh, that sounds good, boss, that sounds good." It's like, "Now keep moving, you kids, before I decide to throw you overboard." So, overboard? What do you mean? As one of the guys tried to question it, as then he grabs him and throws him off a cliff that was nearby. As it's just a small little cliff, nothing too deep. As the guy's like, "Keep questioning me and I'll rip out even more." Alright, boss, alright. You got it. I know this sounds stupid, I'm sorry. You have to suffer through this. But as Celebrimbor and Bell follow close behind him, he's like, "I'll take the ones on the left. You get the ones on the right." Aye, Captain. As they drop down and sneak up, as it's like, "Alright, take a breather. You two, keep an eye out. I have no idea if some Caragors may time come and try picking at our little flock here." It's like, "You got it, boss, you got it." It's like, swear to gods, whoever listens to me, no one else seems to be able to do my job like I do. I swears that I'm going to gut the next man I see." As then, immediately after that, they hear, "Caragor!" As then the captain's like, "Oh boy, God!" As he picks up his sword, he's like, "You maggots, keep the slaves, alright? I'll deal with this stupid Caragor." As he quickly just stabs in the back of the face, as in that short amount of time, Bell and Celebrimbor descend upon the tribesmen still protecting the camps, as they descend upon them like two trained killers in the night. As when the boss returns, he's like, "It ain't that hard, you." As he looks around, where's my slaves? Where's the pieces of filth I told to watch him?" As As Bell says, they're on the ground if you don't see. He's like, who are you? He's like, the name's the Lost Ranger. He's like, oh, you're that kid who killed the hammer? Oh, I bet if I bring your corpse to my master, he'll be extra pleased. I switch between accents, I know. Bell says, come and take it then. As he rushes forward, as he slides, cutting sort of his Achilles tendon, as then he takes his long sword and just jabs it forward into the guy that was following him. As the slave, I believe he's the slave trader or slave breaker, one of the two. As he's like, hold on a minute. Let's just talk this out. We can all be civilized here. He's like, yes, we can. As Bell takes the back of his sword and pretty much backhands him. As he says, Lothario, please come out now. As Lothario's like, well done, Ranger. As he's like, he may have some information for you. He's like, he might. As he's like, here, quickly, hold him. She's like, alright, give us the information, and my friend here doesn't throw you over to that cliff over there. It's like, alright, let's not get too violent. As he's like, what do you want to know? He's like, where are they hiding? The war chiefs, anyone else of high rank? He's like, I can't tell you that. He's like, oh, really? Talion? As he puts his sword away and is about to grab him, he's like, oh, wait. I don't know where they are, because they stay hidden. Oh, alright. So, I know where one is, though. I know where one is. His name's Groundcatcher. He's over under the fort, you see? So, can I go? As Bell says, I won't throw you overboard. As he's like, oh. As then Bell takes his sword and rams it right through his eye. As Lothario says, what were you doing? He's like, I didn't. You said I wouldn't throw him overboard. Never that I would chop off his head. As when he rips out his sword, he beheads him. It's like, well, come, Lothario. Let us go meet your mother. As Celebrimbor says, well, do you think that was a wise decision? He would have told everyone that we were here already. We need time to get settled in, you could say, Celebrimbor. They know we're here before we're prepared. It'll be easy to come and find us. As well as the fact that we do not know yet if Lothario's mother truly has a way to kill the demon that the Black Hand houses. I see your point, Bell. I did not want to misjudge you. He's like, it is alright, Master. But let us continue forward. For now, we'll lay low. As they eventually do meet up with Lothario's mother. As they just call her... what's her name? They just... Queen Ilrith, I think. I don't know. Queen Marwyn. There we go. Marwyn, not Ilrith. Where I was getting that name from. Queen Marwyn. As Queen Marwyn's like, you two. As she's like still old and feeble. So, you're the ranger. And you must be Celebrimbor. She's like, how do you know my name? It's like, oh, the spirits speak of you, Celebrimbor. Especially some very angry ones. But right now, they are not here. But I guess you're here for another reason. I'll repeat that. I guess you're here for another reason, aren't you? A way to destroy the Black Demon. I may know of a weapon that could save you both, but it is in a difficult place to retreat to. You may not live through the journey. She's like, Any risk is worth killing the demon, is what Celebrimbor says. Bell says, tell us and point us in the right direction, and it will be found. Very well, if you two say so. As she shows him a vision. As the vision includes them fighting a Graug, in which they see a small man tossed aside. As it's like, you will find it in time. But until then, assist my daughter. As she falls asleep. As they both walk out, sort of unnerved by it, as she's like, her powers are quite great. She was even greater before she fell ill. What disease plagues your mother? It is no ordinary disease, Talion. It could be placated by a medicine we had, and communing with certain spirits that would give their assistance, but since the Black Hand has arrived, they've all been either driven out or enslaved and turned into malice. There's no real way to change them back from what we have been able to see. It's like, we are sorry to hear that, Lady Lothario, but point us in the right direction so that way we may help your people. That's what Celebrimbor says. As Bell says, I agree. But it may be beneficial for the two of us to split up. Cover more ground, as it says. You are quite right, Bell. Let us say, before they leave, it's like, Master, I would consider switching to some of Lothario's tribesmen armor. Why, Bell? It's because we do not need them learning about you still being alive. From what it seems is that they never expected to see you again, Master. Like, very well, Bell. As he's like, Lady Lothario, if you wouldn't mind. She's like, oh, not at all. Come this way. We should have some that fit your size. As Bell says, I'll take a look around, see what I can find out about the area. Well done, Bell. We shall meet back again out here at dark time. It's like, yes, Master. As Bell sets off. And that's where I'm going to be ending this one. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Hope y'all continue to enjoy this. And I hope y'all have a nice... Also, I'll be going back to the What If Deku Was Yujiro Hanma's son. Since this is part 5, I'm going to... Every time I switch to a new series, it's going to be a 5-part minimum. So anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Y'all continue to enjoy this, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.